Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Custom Spray Mods. Now today I'm going to show you how to get rid of your orange peel. One way to get rid of your orange peel is to throw it in the bin. You could buff it out, just get a buffing machine and buff that orange peel straight off. Take it out into the woods and dig a hole and bury it. You'll never see that again. You could put your orange peel in an envelope and post it to someone. You could attach it to some golf balls and just whack them into the woods somewhere. Eat your orange peel. Bake a cake using some orange peel and just eat it. That's a good way to get rid of your orange peel. Way to get rid of your orange peel? Eat it. You want to get rid of the orange peel in your paint? Okay. Alright, well let's show you how to get rid of the orange peel in your paint. Okay, so I've sprayed my 2K base coat down. Now I'm going to spray my 2K clear on top and try and get some orange peel. Then we'll show you how to get rid of it. Okay, one way to get less orange peel is to crank the air pressure up on your spray gun. So I'm going to spray the top half of this panel with the low pressure, and I'm going to crank the pressure up, spray the bottom half, and see if we can tell the difference. Okay, so I painted this panel yesterday, and I made sure to get a lot of orange peel in it. So we're going to start removing the orange peel. I've let it dry overnight, so it's nice and cured. I'm going to sand it with some 1500 grit wet sandpaper. I'm going to sand it with some 2000 grit wet sandpaper. Then I'm going to give it a buff using a buffing machine and a pad. So let's go. And here you can actually see the different spray pattern, or the different air pressure that I use. On this bottom bit, I use a lot of air pressure, and you can see how flat it is. There's not as much orange peel in this bottom bit. Whereas you look up to the top area, you can see there's a lot more orange peel over here. So that just shows one way to minimize your peel is to pump up the air pressure. Now you can also see that when I'm rubbing up and down and side to side. I'm not going in circles, because if I go in circles, then it's going to create a circular sanding pattern, and the buff actually spins, so it's going to be harder to get those scratch marks out if I rub in circular motion. So rubbing up and down is the best way to rub your panel. By just squeegeeing the water off, you can see your peel, and you can see how far you've got to go to sand it. Now I'm using 1500 grit to start off. I could have went straight to 2000 grit, but as you can see, it would have taken me a lot longer. So using the 1500 grit first just makes it a bit quicker to flatten out your panel. Okay, as you can see, I've sanded out all that orange peel. I've got this panel, the clear coat, nice and flat. Now a lot of people ask me, they say, you're sanding the clear coat, aren't you sanding it all off? Well, it's not really sanding the clear coat off, it's just cutting a fine layer. The 1500 grit sandpaper isn't heavy enough to actually take the clear coat off. So all it's doing is just chopping off that top layer and making it nice and flat. So I've done 1500, now I'm going to go up to 2000 grit. Now the reason why we go up to 2000 grit is because they're eventually going to buff this, and the buffing machine and the compound will actually find it hard to get out those scratch marks from the 1500 alone. So we need to make these scratch marks a lot finer by using the 2000 grit. Okay, so I've sanded this with 1500 grit, then I've sanded it with 2000 grit, and you can see the difference in the panel. One side is nice and flat with no gloss at all. The other side is still glossy, but you've got your orange peel on here. So this side has been chopped flat with the sandpaper, the 2000 grit. Now we need to use a buffing machine and some compound, and that's going to give us even finer grit, like almost 4000 grit when you use those two things combined. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I'm ready to buff this panel. I'm using just a normal buffing machine with a woolen pad. You can use a foam pad, but the foam pad actually heats up the paint a lot quicker. So if you're not really experienced and if you kind of hold it in one spot for too long, you can burn the paint. The woolen pad is a bit more forgiving. So I'm going to use wool, and I'm going to use some 2-pack cutting compound. Okay, so I've gone over it with my 2000 grit sandpaper, then I've buffed it with the woolen pad and the coarse 2-pack compound. Now I've still got some swirl marks in here from that heavy compound. So to get them out, I'm going to change pads. I'm going to use a soft pad. This is called a waffle pad, and it's because it's got a waffle-like finish. And also some swirl remover. This is specially designed for dark colours, but there's heaps of different swirl removers out there on the market. Basically, it's another finer grit we're going down to get rid of these scratch marks, and eventually it'll be... Okay, so I've left this little section unbuffed because I'm going to use a different buffing machine. This is called a Rupes Bigfoot, and it doesn't actually spin in a circular motion, but it oscillates. So as you can see there, it kind of vibrates and spins on an oscillating kind of axis. That means that it's not going to heat up the paint as much. It's a lot more user-friendly. You don't really need to be too experienced to use this machine. It's harder to burn the paint because it's always moving. So yeah, give that a go on this side. Okay, now I've gone over it with the pad and the coarse compound. I'm going to go over it with with a microfiber pad and the finer compound. Okay, so once we've done all our sanding, our cutting and our soil removing, it's time to put some protection on the paint. Using a good polish will actually protect the paint. So I'm going to use a Gelson polish. There's heaps of different polishes out there on the market, but yeah, I'm just going to use this and basically just wipe it on, wipe it off, and that'll give me my paint protection. Okay, so that's how you get rid of your orange peel. Basically, I had that panel painted. We painted it, got some orange peel in it, sanded it, then used some cutting compound and a buffing machine. Got rid of that orange peel, buffed it with some soil remover, and put some polish on it, and it's done. So it's a fairly easy process, and something you can go and practice on your own car. So have a good one. See ya.